Prayer is power. When you pray, then you are in touch with your higher consciousness. Pray. Pray. Prayer is power. Pray. 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 Prayer is power. Prayer is power. What are you going to do? Pray. 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 When you pray, then you are in touch with your higher consciousness. Pray. 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 Prayer is power. Prayer is power. Pray. Prayer is power. When you pray, then you are in touch with your higher consciousness. Pray. Pray. Prayer is power. Prayer is power. Prayer is power. Pray. Pray. Prayer is power. Prayer is power. Prayer is power. What are you going to do? Pray. Pray. Pray.
Welcome, everyone, to Dr. Pillai, Religion of Religion's YouTube channel. Our program right now is a Planetary Pooja using the chart of now based on where I am right now in Florida. So we're happy to have you here. My name is Swamini Valli, and I am an Pillai Center teacher and an AstroVed astrologer. And I'm very happy to be hosting these calls Monday through Friday. The planets are more than just objects in outer space. Each of the planets also has a divine light being associated with it. The puja that we're doing is one that Dr. Pillai taught to myself and Raja, Meena Malloy's brother, many years ago. I know it's a more advanced form of puja, possibly. However, I think that it's something that helps us to learn a bit more about the planets and the stars and the archetypes that rule them. And as we do this every day, we start to see the movement of the planets through different signs, through different stars, and so forth. And you start to realize every day is a fresh day. Every day has a new configuration of energies, coming on onto our planet. As we do the puja, we're honoring these beings and inviting their positive blessings to come into us and to come into our world. So thank you for joining us. This is the chart that we're working with for today. This is the chart based on the South Indian style layout Vedic chart. And each of these little 12 boxes is representing one of the 12 zodiac signs. The boxes are always the same sign. And there is a little link for a tutorial video on the South Indian style chart in the show more below the video if you would like to learn more about this layout of the chart. This symbol here stands for AC, stands for the ascendant. That's the zodiac sign that's coming up on the eastern horizon where I am at the moment in Florida. This is the sign of Leo. We're going to start here and we'll work our way around to the next sign that has a planet in it, which is today's Libra, which has Ketu. Then we'll go on to Capricorn, which has Pluto retrograde and Saturn retrograde. Come up to Pisces, which has Neptune retrograde and Jupiter. Then we'll go over to Aries, which today has the Moon, Mars, Uranus, and Rahu. Yesterday, the Moon was over here. Now he's moved over into this sign. Then we'll go on to Gemini, which has Venus today. And then we'll drop down to Cancer, which has the Sun and Mercury. So that's the layout of the chart that we're working with for right now. My instructions from Dr. Pillai were to get a little chalkboard or blackboard and draw in chalk the chart for doing the puja. So I have a little blackboard on my side table with the chart drawn in chalk. And I have a bowl of flower petals that I'm going to offer onto the chart as we go along. Flowers have tremendous purity. And when we do prayers or mantras with flowers, the purity of those flowers takes the sounds right into the causal plane and is updating our own Akashic record. So we are very grateful to the flowers. When I open up the flowers to get their flower petals, I always say thank you to them for giving us the petals for the puja. We thank them for that sacrifice. I also have on my side table, I have a little tea light that's lit. I have a little container of water. I have a bell, and I also have a fan. So I'm going to start with first taking the little container of water, dipping a finger in from my right hand, and sprinkling some drops of water around all four sides of the blackboard. I'm putting a little drop of water on my own head and throwing a little drop of water out into space towards all of you, whether you're watching it live or watching it later on the replay, so that we're all in a space now that's been purified by water. We're in a sacred space now for doing the puja. Next, I'm going to invoke Ganesha, the archetype who removes obstacles, with the mantra Om Sring Gung, SRING GUNG. Om Sring Gung, Om Sring Gung, Om Sring Gung. We ask Ganesha to come and to remove all obstacles for everyone with this puja. Now I'm going to do a short selection from a Tamil hymn by Saint Gnanasamundar, in which all of the planets are being asked to be positive towards us. I have put a link in the chat for where you can see this Tamil chant online if you want to see it for yourself. Asura nalla nalla, ave nalla nalla, atiyar arvar kumikave. Asura nalla nalla, ave nalla nalla, atiyar arvar kumikave. Asura nalla nalla, ave nalla nalla, atiyar avar kumikave. We ask all of the planets to be beneficial today towards us, and we thank Saint Gnanasamundar for giving us this chant. There is a link in the little club.astroved.com post about this chant, where there's a link for the larger version of the whole hymn, which is called Sounds to Control the 9 Planets, in the audio section of the Pillai Center store. That hymn is about 30 minutes long. It's in Tamil, but Dr. Pillai does translation as he goes along. So it's a kind of guided meditation, very powerful to listen to if you have never listened to that one. I think it can be a good idea to listen to that one maybe once a week if you're studying astrology. Okay, now we're going to go on to the next part of the puja, which is we start with first invoking some of the time elements that are active right now, the time Shaktis. We start with invoking the planet that rules the day. Each day of the week is ruled by a planet. Where I am right now, it's Mercury ruling Wednesday. So I'm going to honor Mercury and put flower petals on top of him as I chant for him. Om Buddhaya Namaha. Om Buddhaya Namaha. Om Buddhaya Namaha. Next, we honor the star that the moon is in at the moment. This is the nakshatra of the day. Right now, the moon is in a star called Ashwini. We honor this star, and I put the flower petals on top of the moon. Om Ashwini He Namaha. Om Ashwini He Namaha. Om Ashwini He Namaha. Next, we honor the Tithi, or the moon phase. The moment where I am, we're in the 8th waning moon, which is called Ashtami in Sanskrit. Dr. Pillai said in invoking the Tithi, we would use the Sanskrit name and add the word Devi to honor the light being associated with this moon phase. Again, I put the flower petals on top of the moon. Om Ashtami Devye Namaha. Om Ashtami Devye Namaha. Om Ashtami Devye Namaha. Next, we honor the planet that rules the hour. Each hour or hora is ruled by a planet during the day. Right now, in this location, the hora is being ruled by Jupiter. We honor Jupiter, and I put the flower petals on top of Jupiter. Om Gurave Namaha. Om Gurave Namaha. Om Gurave Namaha. Now we're going to work with the two Shime Shaktis called the Yoga and the Karana. Dr. Pillai said for these, we wouldn't offer flower petals. We would just say their names 3 times each. The Yoga right now is one called Driti, which has energies of enjoyment. Driti, Driti, Driti. And the Karana right now is one called Balava, which has very spiritual energies. Balava, Balava, Balava. There are sayings in the ancient texts that just saying the names of all of the time Shaktis each day activates blessings that get sent to us. So this is why we're doing this at the beginning. Now we turn our attention to the chart of the moment. Again, this is based on 10 a.m. in Florida, my time, my location. And we start with the ascendant, which is in the sign of Leo. Dr. Pillai said we would start with the planet that rules the ascendant, because that's the importance of this sign that's coming up in the eastern horizon right now. Leo is ruled by the sun. We're going to honor the sun, and I will put flower petals on top of him. Om Suryaya Namaha. Om Suryaya Namaha. Om Suryaya Namaha. Now we're going to go in a clockwise direction from the ascendant over to the first Rasi or sign that has a planet in it. Right now, that's the sign of Libra, which today has the planet Ketu in it. We honor Ketu. Om Ketave Namaha. Om Ketave Namaha. Om Ketave Namaha. Next, with each of the planets, we're going to honor the star that the planet is in, the archetype that rules the star, the planet that rules the star, and later we'll also honor the planet that rules the sign that the planet is in. So right now we honor the star Vishaka, as that's the star that Ketu is in right now. This is a star that has competitive energies, and it helps to propel us towards wanting victory and success. We invoke this star. Om Vishakaye Namaha. Om Vishakaye Namaha. Om Vishakaye Namaha. Vishaka star is ruled by a pair of archetypes, Indra and Agni. Indra is an archetype that can help us with leadership and courage. And Agni is the god of the fire, and he helps with transformation and purification. We honor this pair. Om Indra Agnihe Namaha. Om Indra Agnihe Namaha. Om Indra Agnihe Namaha. Now we honor the planet that rules Vishaka star, which is Jupiter. We honor Jupiter, and I put flower petals on top of him. Om Gurave Namaha. Om Gurave Namaha. Om Gurave Namaha. Now we honor the planet that rules Tula or Libra, which is Venus. I put flower petals on top of Venus. Om Shukraya Namaha. Om Shukraya Namaha. Om Shukraya Namaha. We pause for a moment and reflect on Tula or Libra, a sign of harmony and balance, today containing Ketu, the saintly planet. We pause for a moment and reflect on this. The next Rasiya sign with a planet in it is Makara or Capricorn, which today contains Pluto retrograde and Saturn, who is also retrograde. I'm including the three outer planets, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, in our chart, because this year Dr. Pillai commissioned for statues for Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto to be created and energized and put into his temple in India, in Chennai. And I asked the astrologer there to tell me what were the mantras that were used when they energized those statues. And those are the mantras that we use in the puja. You can find those mantras in the Planetary Mantras section in the club.astroved.com site. And I put a link for that up above earlier in the chat. We're invoking Pluto right now, and I put flower petals on top of him. Om Krum Kruntankaya Namaha. Om Krum Kruntankaya Namaha. Om Krum Kruntankaya Namaha. Today, Pluto is in the star of Uttarashada. This is a star that has energies that can give us long-lasting success. We honor this star. Om Uttarashadaye Namaha. Om Uttarashadaye Namaha. Om Uttarashadaye Namaha. Uttarashada star is ruled by the sun. We honor the sun, and I put flower petals on top of him. Om Suryaya Namaha. Om Suryaya Namaha. Om Suryaya Namaha. Excuse me, I forgot to do the archetype that rules Uttarashada first. Uttarashada is ruled by the 10 Visvadevas, who are archetypes that each represent a particular universal divine principle. We honor these beings, and I put the flower petals on top of Pluto because he's the one in the star. Om Visvadevasye Namaha. Om Visvadevasye Namaha. Om Visvadevasye Namaha. Now we move on to honoring Saturn, who is retrograde. When a planet is retrograde, he's extra powerful. We honor Saturn, and I put flower petals on top of him. Om Sanisharaya Namaha. Om Sanisharaya Namaha. Om Sanisharaya Namaha. Saturn right now is in a star called Dhanishta, a star of wealth, prosperity consciousness, and also music and desire for a good reputation. We honor this star. Om Dhanishtaye Namaha. Om Dhanishtaye Namaha. Om Dhanishtaye Namaha. Dhanishta star is ruled by Mars. We honor Mars, and I put flower petals on top of Mars. Om Mangalaya Namaha. Om Mangalaya Namaha. Om Mangalaya Namaha. Now we honor the planet that rules Makara or Capricorn, which is Saturn. We honor Saturn, and I put flower petals on top of him. Om Sanisharaya Namaha. Om Sanisharaya Namaha. Om Sanisharaya Namaha. We pause for a moment and reflect on Makara or Capricorn, a sign of ancient past life skills and abilities. Today containing Pluto, a planet that can help us with rationality and science. And Saturn, a planet who can bless us with patience, organization, discipline. We pause for a moment and reflect on this. The next raw seer sign with the planet in it is Mina or Pisces, which today contains Neptune retrograde, as well as Jupiter. We start with honoring Neptune. Om Vam Varunaye Namaha. Om Vam Varunaye Namaha. Om Vam Varunaye Namaha. Right now, Neptune is in a star called Purva Bhadrapada. This is a star with the fire of Kundalini energy and a fire that helps with purification. Om Purva Bhadrapadaye Namaha. Om Purva Bhadrapadaye Namaha. Om Purva Bhadrapadaye Namaha. Purva Bhadrapada star is ruled by Aja Ekapada, a one-footed archetype who can give us blessings for experiencing silence and forgiveness. Om Aja Ekapadaye Namaha. Om Aja Ekapadaye Namaha. Om Aja Ekapadaye Namaha. Purva Bhadrapada star is ruled by Jupiter. We honor Jupiter, and I put flower petals on top of him. Om Gurave Namaha. Om Gurave Namaha. Om Gurave Namaha. Now we honor Jupiter for being in Mina or Pisces. So again, we invoke him, and I put more flower petals on top of him. Om Gurave Namaha. Om Gurave Namaha. Om Gurave Namaha. Jupiter is in a star called Uttara Bhadrapada. Dr. Pillai says this is a star that can help us with business development. We honor this star. Om Uttara Bhadrapadaye Namaha. Om Uttara Bhadrapadaye Namaha. Om Uttara Bhadrapadaye Namaha. Uttara Bhadrapada star is ruled by Arbundia, a deity associated with the deep, like the deep of the oceans. He has energies that can help with guarding precious things, with guarding our own treasures and precious things. We invoke him. Om Arbundiaye Namaha. Om Arbundiaye Namaha. Om Arbundiaye Namaha. Uttara Bhadrapada star is ruled by Saturn. We honor Saturn, and I put flower petals on top of him. Om Sanishwaraya Namaha. Om Sanishwaraya Namaha. Om Sanishwaraya Namaha. Now we honor the planet that rules Mina or Pisces, which is Jupiter. Again, we honor Jupiter, and I put more flower petals on top of him. Om Gurave Namaha. Om Gurave Namaha. Om Gurave Namaha. We pause for a moment and reflect on Mina or Pisces, a sign that is filled with energies that are metaphysical and transcendental. Today containing Neptune, planet that helps with intuition and ability to understand our inner self, and Jupiter, a planet that helps with spiritual teachings and our relationship with our spiritual teachers. We pause for a moment and reflect on this. The next Rasi or sign with the planet in it is Misha or Aries, which today contains the moon, Mars, Uranus, and Rahu. Yesterday, the moon was over here in Pisces, but now he's moved over into a new sign. We start with honoring the moon. I put flower petals on top of him. Om Chandraya Namaha. Om Chandraya Namaha. Om Chandraya Namaha. Right now, the moon is in the star of Ashwini. This is a star symbolized with a horse's head. It has energies of both speed and healing. This is Gina's birth star, Lakshmi's birth star, Ashwini. We honor this star. Om Ashwiniye Namaha. Om Ashwiniye Namaha. Om Ashwiniye Namaha. Ashwini star is ruled by the Ashwini Kumars, two archetypes who are horse-headed twins and are filled with tremendous healing energies. They are sometimes called even the physicians of the gods. They're able to do amazing healing miracles. We invoke them. Om Ashwini Kumarsye Namaha. Om Ashwini Kumarsye Namaha. Om Ashwini Kumarsye Namaha. Ashwini star is ruled by the planet Ketu. We honor Ketu and we put flower petals on top of him. Om Ketave Namaha. Om Ketave Namaha. Om Ketave Namaha. Now we're going to invoke Mars, Uranus, and Rahu, who are all in the same star. So we'll invoke all three of those planets before we invoke the star. We start with Mars. Om Mangalaya Namaha. Om Mangalaya Namaha. Om Mangalaya Namaha. Next, we honor Uranus, and I put flower petals on top of him. Om Ram Prajapataye Namaha. Om Ram Prajapataye Namaha. Om Ram Prajapataye Namaha. Next, we honor Rahu, and I put flower petals on top of him. Om Rahave Namaha. Om Rahave Namaha. Om Rahave Namaha. Mars, Uranus, and Rahu right now are all in the same star. This is a star called Bharani. Bharani star is symbolized with the symbol of the yoni, which represents the female private parts. This is a star with tremendous divine feminine energy, Shakti, power. We honor this star. Om Bharaniye Namaha. Om Bharaniye Namaha. Om Bharaniye Namaha. Bharani star is ruled by the archetype Yama, who among other things is an archetype of justice. Om Yamaye Namaha. Om Yamaye Namaha. Om Yamaye Namaha. Bharani star is ruled by the planet Venus. We honor Venus, and I put flower petals on top of him. Om Shukraya Namaha. Om Shukraya Namaha. Om Shukraya Namaha. Now we honor the planet that rules Misha or Aries, which is Mars. Om Mangalaya Namaha. Om Mangalaya Namaha. Om Mangalaya Namaha. We pause for a moment and reflect on Misha or Aries, a sign that is a fire sign that has very active energies, today containing the moon, which is our mind and our emotions. Mars, a planet that has energies that are both warrior and healer. Uranus, a planet that can help us with high intelligence, innovation, and success in life. Rahu, a planet that helps us to think outside the box, and a planet that can help us to make friends with new technologies. We pause for a moment and reflect on this. The next Rasi or sign with a planet in it is Mithuna or Gemini, which today contains Venus. We honor Venus. Om Shukraya Namaha. Om Shukraya Namaha. Om Shukraya Namaha. Today, Venus is in a star called Ardra, a star symbolized as a teardrop of compassion. We honor this star. Om Ardraye Namaha. Om Ardraye Namaha. Om Ardraye Namaha. Ardra star is ruled by the archetype Rudra, a form of Shiva that destroys negative energies. Om Rudraye Namaha. Om Rudraye Namaha. Om Rudraye Namaha. Ardra star is ruled by Rahu. We honor Rahu, and I put flower petals on top of him. Om Rahave Namaha. Om Rahave Namaha. Om Rahave Namaha. Now we honor the planet that rules Mithuna or Gemini, which is Mercury. We invoke Mercury, and I put flower petals on top of him. Om Buddhaya Namaha. Om Buddhaya Namaha. Om Buddhaya Namaha. We pause for a moment and reflect on Mithuna or Gemini, today a sign that has a great range of energies. Today containing Venus, a planet of happiness, material plane comforts, and also a planet of diplomacy. We pause for a moment and reflect on this. The next Rasi or sign with a planet in it is Karkata or Cancer, which today contains the Sun and Mercury. We honor the Sun, and I put flower petals on top of him. Om Suryaya Namaha. Om Suryaya Namaha. Om Suryaya Namaha. The Sun and Mercury are both in the same star right now, so we will honor Mercury before we invoke this star. We honor Mercury, and I put flower petals on top of him. Om Buddhaya Namaha. Om Buddhaya Namaha. Om Buddhaya Namaha. The Sun and Mercury right now are both in a star called Pusha. This is a star symbolized as a cow's udder, a star of nourishment. It's considered to be the most spiritually auspicious of all the stars. We honor this star. Om Pushaye Namaha. Om Pushaye Namaha. Om Pushaye Namaha. Pusha star is ruled by an archetype called Brihaspati, a form of Jupiter, where he's even the teacher to the gods themselves. Om Brihaspataye Namaha. Om Brihaspataye Namaha. Om Brihaspataye Namaha. Pusha's star is ruled by Saturn. We honor Saturn, and I put the flower petals on top of Saturn. Om Sanisharaya Namaha. Om Sanisharaya Namaha. Om Sanisharaya Namaha. Now we honor the planet that rules Karkata or Cancer, which is the moon. We honor the moon, and I put the flower petals on top of the moon. Om Chandraya Namaha. Om Chandraya Namaha. Om Chandraya Namaha. We pause for a moment and reflect on Karkata or Cancer, the zodiac sign whose energies are the most emotionally sensitive, today containing the sun, which is our soul, and Mercury, planet of communication. We pause for a moment and reflect on this. Now that we've gone around the chart and invoked all the planets, I'm going to take a little tea light and I'm going to offer this element of light to all of the divine beings we've just invoked. I'm holding this and taking it above the blackboard that has all the flower petals on it 3 times in a clockwise direction above the chart, offering the element of light. Next, I take a little hand fan. I have a housemate who's sensitive to scent, so I can't use an incense stick. If you want to offer incense right now, you can. I'm waving the little fan gently above the chart and the flower petals, offering the element of air, a cool breeze. And next, I take a bell and I'm going to ring that around the chart 3 times in a clockwise direction, offering the element of sound. There are many traditions that use bells, and Dr. Pillai has said when we ring a bell, the divine is instantly there, which is lovely. Now we make a prayer to all of these divine beings that we have just invoked, sincerely asking them for their positive blessings for ourselves, our families, our friends, our colleagues, our homes, our workplaces, our schools, our communities, our countries, and indeed the entire planet. May everyone on this planet have healthy food to eat, clean water to drink, clean air to breathe, a safe place to live, good clothes to wear, access to health care, good education, sustainable jobs, and may everyone on this planet have love in their life, now and always. And I make a bow. You can continue making your own prayers in silence for a minute, and then I will open up for some questions and answers. Make your own prayers silently. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, 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 peace to the body, peace to the mind, peace to the soul, peace to the environment, peace, peace, peace. May all of us go about our day or our evening in peace. I can open up right now for a short amount of Q&A. I see rhythm saying, I am yawning a lot all of a sudden. Yawning could be just some energy releasing. It could also be your body letting you know that you're tired and maybe, you know, to take a little bit more care with your sleep pattern. Or it could just be that you're very, very, very relaxed. And that's also a nice thing. So yawning is okay. That's an okay reaction to have. Ranak is saying in the chat, please explain the concept of retrograde planet and its impact. When a planet goes retrograde, and again, it's not really going backwards in the sky, it just looks like it from our point of view here on Earth relative to the way the other orbits are. For us in the sky right now, it looks like it's going backwards, even though it's really not. But when he's retrograde, he's extra powerful. When he's extra powerful, sometimes that can mean that any area that that planet rules or is in charge of, where we don't really have our act together, like we might have a hole in that area, that hole might get more exposed for us to have to take care of. For example, if you have like a little garden hose and it has a couple of leaks in it, but you don't have the water turned on very hard, those leaks aren't like flying into your face. But if you turn the water on, you know, full volume, then those little leaks in the hole suddenly, you know, are exploding with water. So for example, sometimes for people when Mercury goes retrograde, the planet of communication, the planet that helps us with managing our details, sometimes for some of them that can become challenging time, like maybe they have to take extra care with how they respond to emails, or they have to be extra careful if they're going to the airport to make sure they have their ticket and their passport, that type of thing, because maybe, you know, they have forgotten maybe to back up their files on their computer. Mercury has a lot to do with electronics and computers. So sometimes if they haven't been backing them up regularly, that might get exposed to them during a Mercury retrograde. So it's not something to be afraid of, but it's something to take advantage of the power of that planet. And then also, you know, as a reality check, if you're having any issues with that planet while he's retrograde, to look at, maybe I need to, you know, become more impeccable in those areas. Maybe I have to tighten up my life in those areas. So that's what it is. They're just extra powerful. And so that power, you know, how we handle it, if we're a garden hose with holes in it versus if we're, you know, a strong garden hose that doesn't have any leaks in it and can handle that volume, that's a little bit on us to take a look at and to work with that. So that's a kind of simple way of trying to explain it. I hope that's helpful, Ranak. But when they're retrograde, they are extra powerful. So Saturn right now is very powerful because he's retrograde and he's also in a sign he rules. When a planet's in a sign he rules, he's very comfortable to be there. Saturn is in a sign he rules. Jupiter is in a sign he rules. Mars is in a sign he rules. So those planets are very comfortable right now. What planet rules or is associated with our teeth? Barbara, I would have to get back to you on that. I'm really not trained in medical astrology. I would have to get back to you on that about teeth. I know teeth are important. I know that the enamel of our teeth is important, but I would have to get back to you on that one. I don't really do medical astrology. I'd have to look that up for you. So I'll try to give you that answer tomorrow if you're back tomorrow. Okay. Any other questions related to the puja? Anything about that anyone is asking? I see Ranak saying thank you, so it sounds like that answer was okay. All right. Well, again, I'm trying to make sure that we're done with the puja in a timely way, so that I'm not keeping you too long. If you have another question later, you can email that to me at Valli, VALLI, at pillaicenter.com. If you have a question. I don't want to answer questions about your chart, but if you have questions related to the puja, I can help you with that. All right, then. Well, thank you for being here. My pleasure to be hosting these calls Monday through Friday right now on the Religion of Religions channel. I do ask that you please hit the like button for the program, and also to subscribe to the channel, because that helps the channel to grow. Dr. Pillai would really like for the Religion of Religions channel to expand, and his vision is for us to eventually be able to have programs here 24/7. So we're still in early days. There will be other programs on his channel later today. There's a program coming up about the divine light of healing. And there's also programs that invoke Jesus. There's a program on other days at other times that invoke the goddess Angali. And on Saturdays, Ronnie is hosting a program that goes over different archetypes from different traditions, different divine beings. And she's doing a wonderful job with that. So thank you for being here. Astrology is used in many traditions. Buddhism teaches astrology, Taoism, the Vedic tradition, and even in the Christian tradition, the wise men followed a star across the desert to find Jesus. And in the temple, the Jewish temple in the Holy Land at that time, when Jesus was alive, they had mosaics on the floor that had the symbols for all 12 zodiac signs. So looking up at the stars and learning about the energies of the signs and the planets and the stars is something that has been going on this planet for centuries. The earliest Vedic texts talk about the sun, the moon, and the stars. The other planets don't come in until later. Those stars they consider to be very important. When you were born, the moon was in one of those stars, and that star for you is your birth star. The moon is traveling through all those stars each month. And when the moon is traveling through your birth star, that's your birth star day for that month. And it's kind of like a mini birthday. It's a good day for you. It's a positive day for you. Okay. Well, that's a little bit of extra info. All righty. I will see you again tomorrow. Thank you for being here. Blessings to all of you. Namaste.